Hello, everyone. My name is Stacy Nell, and I'm the Executive Director of the Kansas African American Affairs Commission, back for another Lunch and Learn. Today, multiple people have decided to join me. This is fantastic. I was prepared for one. I get the benefit of two. Today, we are joined by Stephen Johnson, who is I always want to call him the Secretary of Treasury, but he is the Director of the Treasury, the State Treasurer, the Kansas State Treasurer.
There you go.
That's it. Kansas State Treasurer Stephen Johnson and Tonya Hutchings, who is the Director of Outreach for the department. So, hello, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yes, great to be with you. Thanks for letting me crash the party.
Yes, I know. I was not expecting you. It's a pleasant surprise. So this is a lunch and learn. Stephen, you know the thing, but Tonya, my first question is always, what did you have for lunch?
I actually have had a very busy day, so I may have skipped lunch today. That's for later today. We'll
Now,
get there.
it's important to stay, sustenance. You have to make sure you've eaten. And Stephen, what'd you have for lunch today?
So I had a chicken parmesan that I kept from last night, which was a delightful way to get to stay at my desk and have a bite to eat.
There you go. Yeah, I had some leftovers. We had like a sausage potato apple. I don't know. One of my children made it, so I had leftovers. I'm like, hey, it was tasty. Fantastic. Okay, but the reason that we're doing this lunch and learn today was that actually last time when I talked to Stephen, I'd gone up to the office and he said, "Oh, we have a director of outreach, a whole person whose whole job is to do outreach." And so I'm like, well, let me meet her to find out what other opportunities are going on. And Tonya, so you here are to talk specifically about an event that's happening in November geared towards women and money.
Yes. So we have a Women in Money event. It is going to be in Wichita, Kansas at the Exploration Place, November 6th. It is a super fun event. We did the inaugural event last year in Kansas City, just a way that women can come together. They can network. They can kind of have a girls' day out if they want to, and just figure out what is my next step in my financial journey.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I see. If you go online, you can look at the pictures from last year. I know it was at Sporting KC last year, right? Is that what it was?
Yes, it was.
Mhm. That looked like a fantastic event. So tell us, how did you come to the idea of doing this event? Like, what was the sort of the originating push?
So that actually happened before I came into the office, and it was brought to us by an individual outside of our office. So if he doesn't mind, I would love for the treasurer to jump in and give kind of the background of how it all
Okay.
came about.
Sure. So actually, going on 3 years ago, we had someone come in who just said, I think you need to put all of these concepts that you work with regularly into a package where women can come, feel safe to ask their questions, not necessarily feel like I'm getting sold anything, and just be able to look at what do I want to know about handling money, whether it's getting started, my first steps to get my arms around it, all the way to the fact that women have more challenges in that you live longer. As a result, you're often the second to die in a relationship. And those are the hardest things. So, how do you make sure that you have the information, you're comfortable with what all of that looks like, and can just navigate all of life financially? And the other thing she said, which I don't know, is she said women actually do a great job networking and learning together and maybe listening, which is a concept I've heard about. But anyway, so
I mean,
her passion.
I was not going to say anything disparaging about what males may do when they come together to talk about things or their abilities to listen. But
I'm sorry, what was that? Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Point noted.
So,
Point noted.
so that was the catalyst, and she walked with us through that first year as we brought Tonya on to help us actually make it happen. Um, and then it was more fun than I think we expected. It was also more work than we expected. But we had a lot of great sponsors who walked alongside us to bring really quality information. So that was great. And we had a steering committee, which this person and others volunteered for to help guide us and say, what would women want or need?
Fantastic. And so this is the third, you said this is the third year?
This is the second. So it took us about a year and a half to put the first one together.
Right.
And so this is just our second one.
Because this is a full day thing. It's from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So it's not like it's just a 1 hour discussion of types of stuff. So now what I was trying to do is like, I know you sent me, or maybe I saw it online, the schedule of speakers is
Yes,
currently up. So do you want to talk about some of the topics that are going to be covered or some of the speakers that are on the
absolutely.
docket?
So what we tried to do is put together a schedule that we want women of any age to be able to come to the conference. And I just want to toss this in there. It's free, by the way. We have fantastic sponsors that allow us to offer a full day of this financial program, this event, and we don't have to charge them to attend the event. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I think that's really important for people to be aware of.
Yes.
So back to the speakers, as we were putting those together, we wanted something that's going to hit any stage of life that you're in. So what we've tried to do is put speakers in place that even if you haven't even invested yet, if you're paycheck to paycheck, whatever your financial position is, you're going to get something from this. And just to give you an idea, our first year, the youngest person there, she was 19, was so inspiring because she came up at the end of it and she said, I wish I would have known what I was going to learn today. I would have invited all my friends.
Mhm.
And at 19, I personally wish I would have had something like this that I can go and ask questions. Because at 19, if somebody would have said something to me about investing or specific financial topics, I would have felt very uncomfortable talking about those. And this is a place that you're going to feel like, oh, I have all these experts, they have the answers, and I'm going to feel good and feel comfortable asking those questions.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And Tanya put together a great program start to finish because the reality is, even in a day, we can't answer all the questions, but we try to help us get better at asking our next question. Say, oh, this is what I need to figure out, and help to just open that idea. So it starts with a panel of folks and women of different life experiences because life happens and it doesn't always go as planned. So, how do you take that in stride as best you can, financially and otherwise, to make sure that you can keep going? And that's the concept. What are the main issues? And that's laid out by one of our partners from Security Benefit. And we have a keynote. Tanya and the team did a great job vetting so many speakers. I actually think that she came up with the best women's speaker on money in the country, who really gets it. And this is her thing. And if you read Jean Chatsky's bio, I think you'll have a chance to see that, which will be pretty cool. So I'm actually looking forward to getting to hear from and interact with her. So that will be a plus. At noon, we actually have a panel of experts over lunch, and those come from the different areas. So it will be an attorney, it'll be a financial advisor, it'll be an accountant. Bring your questions. What would you want to ask one of those people if you had the chance? And what might you get to learn from other people's questions? So there are a number of breakouts that cover different topics. Our insurance commissioner is a great partner in that insurance is a big part of the financial picture. And then we continue to close with our title sponsors, TIAA. I think they're going to be talking a little bit about retirement and those related issues financially. They work with us on education planning. And then we have another speaker to round out the day with the goal of saying, how do you put all of this to work? Where do you go next?
Fantastic. So hopefully you can see the screen because I knew I had seen the schedule and it's on the website, on the Kansas Treasurer's state treasurer's website, where they have the event schedule. And as she said, I mean, the registration button is right here at the top of the page, and it's free to register. So this is fantastic to have all this information free available. If you can get yourself to Wichita, because that's where it's going to take place. And so I will definitely put the link to this website in the show notes. And then also I will also figure out some way well, when I send out the email about this, I can post this flyer again that Tonya sent over with the QR code to scan and register. And it's just what a wonderful opportunity. And I'm glad you mentioned this fact that at 19, because I'm thinking about what I was doing when I was 19 years old. And the idea of investing money was nowhere in my radar at the age of 19. So to have this information available and free is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
It makes me feel so good that we can provide something like this to all women, but to have a 19-year-old come away so excited about that, just the difference it will make in her life going forward. I feel like that's huge. Another speaker that we didn't mention, we do have a speaker that is talking about the sandwich generation, because we have women that are having to take care of their kids still, but yet they're having to take care of their parents.
Yes.
And how do you navigate that? It's very overwhelming.
Yes.
To try to figure out, how do I do this? And how do I protect them? How do I take care of them? How do I find in-home health care? All those things. So we'll have a speaker on that too. I'm very excited to hear what she has to say also.
Yes, definitely. I find myself in the sandwich generation. I'm blessed. My mother is healthy and she's on her own, but I'm definitely in that age group where I've got teenage children and a mom who's still, although she gallivants, she's out there, she's kicking it, so she's doing fine. But so this is fantastic. All right, now I know, Tonya, as the director of outreach, I know perhaps this is the major thing. And if your life is anything like mine, if you have this major thing going on in November, there's not a lot else going on. But as a director of outreach, what are some other things that you are involved in, or that the treasurer's office is doing outreach about?
So the rest of the time we just sit around with our feet up. No,
I
I'm
mean,
just kidding.
I know
Not even a chance of that.
It's a cushy government job, right? I mean,
it is. It's actually extremely, extremely busy. So
no, I know you guys are up to stuff, because I've already interviewed Stephen about it. So yeah, tell us about it.
So one of the other big programs is our Learning Quest, our 529 program.
Yes.
And it is a fantastic way for parents or grandparents, I've done it as a grandparent, to save money for kids to go to college, or they can use the funds for a tech school. But let's say that as a grandparent, I set up an account and the grandchild gets a full scholarship to college and doesn't use the money. You can now move those funds over into a Roth IRA.
Oh,
And get them on the road to, some type of retirement plan. So in addition to being able to save, it's also a fantastic tax benefit, because if you file single, you can claim up to $3,000 a year. If you file married, you can claim up to $6,000 if you put that much money into the accounts. And you can do that on your Kansas tax. So it's a great tax deduction, and you're saving for your child or grandchild.
wonderful program. I know after the last time we had spoken, I went home to my husband because I remembered that we had opened up an account for our older child. I'm like, hey, do we still have that? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, we should put more money into that. So it's a wonderful program. So what are some of the other, is there any other opportunities, any other programs? I know we've talked a lot about, I will always give you an opportunity to talk about the unclaimed property.
Okay, yes. So 1 in 6 in Kansas have unclaimed property. So we cannot talk about it enough. We want individuals to go out and check their name in unclaimed property. They can go out to our website, click on unclaimed property, and I've heard some people say, yeah, but I don't want to go through the process. But guess what? When I started at the treasurer's office, I've lived in the same location for 20 years. I'm like, I'm not going to have unclaimed property, but I'll play around with it and see what's out there. I did. I had funds that had never reached me, and I went through the process. It was a very simple process. I filled out maybe 5 minutes of documentation, sent it in, and they sent me the funds. There are going to be some situations where you have to fill out more paperwork, but the way the system works is when you go to claim those funds, the system goes out, finds out what the situation is, emails those forms to the individual. The individual fills them out and sends them right back in. It's easy, very easy way to claim those funds.
Fantastic. Yes. Yes. All right. So I mean, I really wanted to come out and talk about the Women in Money program, to get the lowdown on it and to make sure that we can, push this out to get as many people as possible to attend. There are unclaimed property, the 529, the Women in Money. Any other programs you want to highlight? I mean, I always say this is just like a 30-minute commercial. Anything you want to talk about?
It's probably a good thing you cut me off at 30 minutes because I could talk all day.
Yes, there is somewhat of a time frame.
So we do have the Able Savings program. The Able Savings it's one of my favorite. It is for persons with disabilities and a way for them to save. Because if you're on SSI or you're on Medicaid, you have an asset limitation. So you can only have that $2,000 in assets.
Mhm.
Well, that's really hard to save for those big purchases. So the ABLE program came about in 2014 with the federal government. Kansas has had ours in place since 2017. And it's a way that they can save up to $100,000 before it's going to affect their benefits. So it's a great way for them to save for those big purchases.
That's awesome. And so
Sorry, I wanted to add one thing to that.
Yes.
So right now, to be eligible for that, you had to have been diagnosed with a disability prior to age 26. We're going to have big changes next year because January 1 of 2026, it's anyone prior to age 46. A lot of sixes, but it's going to make a big change and make a lot more people eligible for that program.
Well, that's fantastic. Okay. Wow. Okay. That is fantastic. Well, that's wonderful. I mean, thank you so much for coming on and giving up your time. And Treasurer Johnson, thank you always. I know, I do know, we joked, but I do know you guys are busy. And so the fact that you would give up an afternoon to come on here and to talk about the programs, I'm always grateful for you to share your time and to come on and I'll do whatever I can to get the word out about these programs, because it is so helpful to have a free way to gain the information. And it's part of the reason why the last several of these lunch and learns are focused on state agencies, because I think the state does a lot for people and people don't often think about what the state is doing. So as it's sort of a state commission, I'm like, well, at least I should try to help people know what the state is doing. So yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that and getting the word out on all the programs and the Women in Money conference. We really appreciate that.
Fantastic. I need to register. I'll make a
Please
make
do.
it a point to get down there. I always need to go to Wichita for something. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. I think this was going to be slated to be posted on October 6th. So if this one goes live, if this Lunch and Learn goes live on October 6th, that means you have a whole month to figure out how to get yourself registered and down to Wichita for the November 6th event. And it's November 6th at Exploration Place in Wichita. It'll be from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Interactive workshops, expert panel discussions, networking opportunities, breakfast and lunch provided.
Yes.
There we go. And giveaways, swag to go with everything. Is there a better way to spend a day?
It's a girls' day.
It's a girls' day. Although I think, Treasurer Johnson, you will be there, right? Aren't you on the list
I will
of
be there.
attendees?
I get
Okay.
to be part of the girls' day. What more could I ask?
I mean, you may have to like listen or something.
It's a
Anyway,
fun venue. Everything at Exploration Place. They're
yes,
finishing a great outdoor venue as well. I don't know if we'll get to preview that yet or not, but I'm kind of excited to check that out too.
I've been there. It's a gorgeous building. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this Lunch and Learn, and I will see you in the next one.
Thank you so much.